destruction.
Imagine a battlefield, so vast that the earth itself trembled. Beneath thousands of racing chariots, horses screamed, wheels shattered, and dust darkened the sky. Two of the most powerful empires of the ancient world collided not just for land, but for honor, dominance, and immortality. Kings did not hide behind walls, they led from the front. This was the Battle of Kadesh, the largest chariot battle ever fought, and one of the most dramatic confrontations in human history. For generations, Egypt and the Hittite Empire had been rivals. Both sought control over the rich lands of the Eastern Mediterranean, where trade routes connected Asia, Africa, and Europe. Whoever ruled this region controlled wealth, resources, and influence far beyond its borders. At the center of this struggle stood the fortified city of Kadesh, a strategic prize neither empire could afford to lose. Egypt was ruled by Ramesses II, a young pharaoh eager to secure his legacy. He was ambitious, confident, and determined to be remembered as a warrior king. Monuments were already being built in his name, but Ramses wanted more than stone carvings. He wanted unquestioned dominance. To him, Kadesh symbolized Egypt's rightful power in the region. Opposing him was the Hittite king Muwatalli II, a ruler known for intelligence and strategy. The Hittites were not newcomers to power. They had built a formidable empire through diplomacy, alliances, and calculated warfare. Unlike Egypt's reliance on speed and discipline, the Hittites mastered deception and surprise. They understood that intelligence could decide battles before swords ever cross. Ramses marched north with a massive army, divided into divisions named after Egyptian gods. Confidence filled the ranks. Reports suggest that the Hittite army was far away, retreating in fear. Ramses trusted this information and advanced rapidly, eager to strike before his enemy could regroup. But the intelligence was false. The Hittites had deliberately spread misinformation, knowing Ramses would act on it. While the Egyptian army advanced, Hittite forces lay hidden, waiting for the perfect moment. Ramses' divisions became dangerously separated. Stretched across miles of open terrain, what appeared to be bold leadership was actually reckless exposure. When the trap was sprung, it was devastating. Thousands of Hittite chariots erupted from concealment and smashed into the Egyptian camp. The attack was sudden and overwhelming. Soldiers were caught unarmed. Tents were crushed beneath charging horses. Lines broke instantly. Panic spread faster than orders could be given. The Egyptian army began to collapse. Ramses himself was nearly captured. His personal guard fell around him, and chaos surrounded the pharaoh. For a brief moment, Egypt's entire future hung by a thread. If Ramses fell, the empire's authority would shatter. What happened next became legend. According to Egyptian accounts, Ramses rallied his remaining forces and charged directly into the enemy, fighting with unmatched determination. While these records exaggerate his heroism, there is no doubt that his leadership prevented total destruction. Reinforcements arrived at a critical moment, striking the Hittites while they were scattered and distracted by plunder. The battlefield descended into a relentless clash. Chariot collided with chariot. Spears shattered. Horses collapsed from exhaustion. Dust blinded warriors as the sun burned overhead. Never before had so many chariots been deployed in a single battle, and never again would such a spectacle be repeated. Despite their initial success, the Hittites failed to deliver a decisive blow. The Egyptians, though battered, refused to break. What followed was hours of brutal fighting with no clear advantage. Both sides suffered heavy losses. Neither could force victory. As night fell, the truth became clear. This battle could not be won. The fighting ended without a decisive outcome. Kadesh remained contested. The field was littered with wreckage and bodies, but no empire had fallen. Both sides claimed success, yet both understood the reality continuing the war would bleed them dry. The consequences of Kadesh reached far beyond the battlefield. Egypt learned that its power had limits. Ramesses II, despite his confidence, had been nearly destroyed by deception. The Hittites learned that surprise alone could not defeat Egyptian resilience. Both empires were exhausted financially, militarily, and politically. For the first time in recorded history, a remarkable decision was made. Instead of endless war, Egypt and the Hittite Empire chose diplomacy. They negotiated and signed the world's first known peace treaty, formally ending their conflict. The treaty recognized borders, promised mutual defense, and established a framework for cooperation. Former enemies became allies. Royal marriages followed, turning rivalry into partnership. This agreement was not a sign of weakness, it was a recognition of reality. War had reached its limits. Ramesses II would later present the Battle of Kadesh as a great victory. He ordered inscriptions carved across temples, depicting himself as a lone hero defeating countless enemies. These images shaped his legacy for generations. Yet behind the propaganda lay a more complex truth: a battle of near defeat, survival, and compromise. Kadesh revealed something timeless about human conflict. Even the greatest armies can be misled. Even the strongest leaders can be deceived. Confidence without caution invites disaster. Power without intelligence is fragile. The battle also reshaped military thinking. It demonstrated both the potential and the danger of chariot warfare. Speed and shock could overwhelm armies, but only when coordination and intelligence were flawless. Future commanders would learn from Kadesh, even if they never admitted it. In the end, no city was destroyed and no empire collapsed that day. Yet, history shifted. Two superpowers chose stability over annihilation. The battlefield faded, the chariots rusted away, but the lesson endured. The Battle of Kadesh was not about conquest. It was about limits. It showed that survival sometimes matters more than domination, and that diplomacy can achieve what force cannot. The clash of egos nearly reshaped the ancient world, but restraint preserved it instead. So here is the question for you. Do you think the Battle of Kadesh should be remembered as an Egyptian victory, a Hittite success, or a rare moment where diplomacy proved stronger than war? Comment below and share your view. And if you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more detailed moments from history told clearly and completely.